Another Utah Hockey Club player headed to the World Championships. And how about those Roadrunners? High drama. Game 3 coming up. We'll talk about it on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and we are your dynamic duo that brings you the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We appreciate you being here. We have plenty to talk about today. Yet another Utah Hockey Club player is heading to the World Championships. And how about those Tucson Roadrunners? They managed to stay alive in Game 2. All kinds of excitement. We're going to talk about it. But first, Robyn, I actually am a little surprised it took this long for us to hear that Karel Vejmelka, or however anybody wants to say it at this point, Veggie's going. And I could not be more pleased, because if you're not going to play playoff hockey, I think him being picked to represent Czechia at the Worlds is just a tremendous cap on a great season.
Oh, absolutely, right. It just really goes to show that that Veggie is among the really solid goaltenders out there. I mean, he obviously had a really good season with the UHC, and now Karel Vejmelka getting a chance to represent his country in Worlds. I mean, and it's nice too, especially because Czechia is one of the the elite six, I'll call them. Right? There are really six countries who really just dominate in Worlds. Everyone else kind of they're floaters. U.S., Canada, Sweden, Finland, Czechia, and am I blanking on the last one? Russia. There we go. Russia. I forget because I haven't participated in.
I know, it's like they slip your mind sometimes. Although the Germans do pop up every once in a while, and
they do. The Germans can float in every now and then. But no. I mean, Czechia is one of those those elite six among countries, and to be able to get the nod as the goalie for World IIHF World Championship, it's huge, absolutely huge.
Look at the year, and again, just look at the whole situation from the beginning of the season. If you remember all the way back, Robyn, when we were chatting in September and October, we had a bunch of questions, right, about all the goaltenders. And one of the biggest ones was, with Veg coming into a contract year, what was the result going to be? Now, I always expect, and it doesn't always happen, that players in a contract year are going to come in and play their tail off, because they, whether it's with your club or another club, they want to keep playing in the NHL. And all of that said, Connor Ingram, I think, kind of had the ball as the number one, wouldn't you say, heading into this year? And that reversed itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Ingram came in, I mean, because he had all the momentum, right? He had a phenomenal year with the last year of the Arizona Coyotes, and really kind of took that mantle as the de facto starter, the 1A, so to speak. And then things happen for Ingram, unfortunately, kind of things on his life side that ended up having him go into the player assistance program, going through the grief, going through other mental health issues. That allowed Veggie to be able to shine, but that's also not saying he didn't shine even without that. Veggie, even on the games when he was just starting, just overall, just had these phenomenal games. I'm gonna say it. He knew he had to play for something.
Yes.
But it's just so nice that that he not only did he just play this well, but that that he's just started getting the love, right? Everyone, the Utah fan base loves him. The Utah team, his teammates love him, and of course, now of course getting the love, getting the call to represent his country in the IIHF World Championship.
I feel like with the way the season went, and the way it had to go, and again, we talk about players coming in or playing for the contract lives, but at 28 years old for a goaltender, you're pretty much coming into your prime years. And so I think at this point, look, sometimes you can have an up and a down when you're 23, 24, maybe even 25. Now, there's no guarantee you stick around to get through those years, but he has. And to now be here at 28 and to be able to kind of go into that season and say, I had the best year I could possibly have. He earns himself a contract extension. And now to know that really this is designated as your number one goaltender for what will be, we all hope, the rise of the Utah Hockey Club for seasons to come here. He is now anointed their guy as they're going to go chase a Stanley Cup here in subsequent seasons. He's the guy.
And, I think even more so that puts a microscope under, Karel Vejmelka and the U.S. moving forward. Now he's got a long contract to worry about. He wants to be able to maintain that level of expectation. And I think this opportunity in the World Championship is a way to kind of show that he can keep the consistency up. He can keep playing this way. And also just to get, again, tournament experience, because this team, Utah, if you include the years previously as Arizona, hasn't had any playoff experience. The only playoff experience they had in the last I would say 13 years is, well, that one year they made it into the bubble, and when they beat Nashville and made it to the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that's a very different year. That kind of shows a whole different experience. That's a whole different thing.
The bubble scene, it's like it was another lifetime.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost like the bubble didn't even happen. Well, it did. Obviously it happened. We all lived through it. But man, it feels like it was so long ago. It's like you almost have detached from that point in time. It was surreal. And yes, completely different experience, no fans, different environment. The closest I think you're going to get, to your point, to playing on that playoff stage is the pressure of playing for your country in international competition.
Yeah. And as I said yesterday, Tom, the IIHF world it's a little bit more toned down, right? Because some of the other elite players are still, fighting for their lives in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So you're not getting some of those players, but you're still getting a lot, right? You're still getting a lot of the players being able to represent. I'll be curious to see exactly how this follows. Maybe this is a precursor, as I mentioned, to, about Keller and Cooley. And the other episode is maybe it's a precursor to see how they can represent their country in the Olympics come 2026.
I would not be shocked to see Veg on a roster when it comes around to time to name the Olympic team. That would be fantastic. I know a lot of UHC fans would be fired up for that.
I just can't wait in general for the NHL to return to the Olympics. I feel like it's been a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Hey, I want to let everybody know today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Right now, you can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And Robyn and I talking about goaltending. We're actually going to be talking a lot about goaltending on the show. We're talking about Veg now, and then we're going to be talking about some Tucson Roadrunners goaltending coming up here. I am a big fan. I think defense wins championships, and goaltending can steal you, especially in a short series. Goaltending can steal you a series. And I think we may have had exactly that happen for the Tucson Roadrunners. So stay tuned, because we're going to fill in the details for you here in just a moment, talking about Game 2 in that series against the Abbotsford Canucks. And today's show brought to you in part by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn on any TV and make it your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. It's got Wi-Fi 6/6E on it, which has auto low latency mode, advanced technology. So the Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds you need to stay competitive. And with endless 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. All right. Well, one thing I can tell you about my experience with it, because I actually have used my Fire Stick to use my Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And it's nice because for intense gaming sessions, I'm using my Xbox. But maybe at night, especially if I'm having trouble sleeping sometimes, I fire it up. And I like to play a little Slay the Spire. We've talked about this. That's my nighttime I need to go to sleep game. And I can do that. So on the Fire TV Stick 4K, it's more affordable and easier to travel with. And you can take it with you. I'm on the road right now. I can throw it in the hotel TV. You can just plug it in wherever you go, right into the HDMI port. Easy for you to say. It's so easy to do. All right, head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. That's Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño back here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. And Robyn, goaltending. It's the story of this show. And right now it is the story of the show for the Tucson Roadrunners.
How about it? You know, the Tucson Roadrunners coming back in game 2 last night with an incredible effort overall from the team. But just how about the effort from one Jaxson Stauber, who took the start in game 2 over Matt Villalta and really, Tom, just stole the show. I was like, my heart stopped in some moments watching this kid play against the Abbotsford Canucks.
You know, it's really interesting because Tucson loses game 1 and they started Matt Villalta. So you come out for game 2, and I didn't think they did poorly in game 1, Robyn. They just certainly didn't win. There were a couple of when we talked about the nap, right? Mm-hmm. Second period nap. And I kind of wondered if they would switch it up in net. I wondered if Villalta would get another chance. But really, you're down to the end here. It doesn't hurt you to switch goaltenders either. And I think Stauber stepping in and stepping up, 38 saves on the night is a huge performance. Now, I mean, maybe if they're able to win game 3 coming up here, maybe he's your guy to run through the playoffs with.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly would say so. You know, if Stauber played as well as he did with the team's backs against the wall in an elimination game, like at this point, you have to ride the hot glove, right? You have to be able to say, I mean, it would be a questionable decision if they do put in Matt Villalta in for game 3. Because of how well Stauber played, right? If you take a look, it makes sense. As you mentioned, 38 saves out of 39 shots from the Abbotsford Canucks. But think about that. 39 shots Abbotsford put up. They really put all the efforts on. Some amazing saves, some weren't. Some were just kind of, they just wanted to get the shots on. But that's, I think, what made Tucson be able to be the better team this year in this game too, outside of Stauber, Tom, because Tucson needed to be able to find those more high danger chances. And what happened was, in addition to, I guess, Stauber playing as well as he did, was Abbotsford were making some decisions that ended up causing turnovers in their own zone, leading to essentially, for example, and I believe this was the exact case for Kyle Yamamoto's goal, is essentially Yamamoto just stole it and instantly just took it right back and got the unassisted goal to make that was to make it 3-0 at that point. And
that's
when
a
that
backbreaker too.
Yeah, when that happened, we kind of knew at that point Tucson was going to go ahead and take this win.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at that. That was 1941 of the second, so 19 seconds before the end of the period, and that's a crusher. And anytime coaches will tell you this, first minute, last minute of a period, you give up a goal, that's awful. But especially, Robyn, if you're Abbotsford, it's 2-1, really, right? If you get into the locker room, it's 2-1. You just need a goal to try to tie the game. And then let's make something happen. But to go from 2-1 to 3-1 down, I know you're playing at home, but it is a different feeling. And especially when it's off a giveaway. It's not like you feel in your heart the other team earned that. You made a mistake, and it got stuck in the back of your net. And that can be deflating.
Oh, absolutely. And then last shout out I want to make, from game 2, Tom. How about Ben McCartney? First of all, first goal tonight. I mentioned in game 1, Hunter drew on a deflection, right? We mentioned that, and I said beautiful deflection. How about Ben McCartney also getting his own deflection in there to start things off, and around at 12:30 in the first. But not only that, but McCartney getting 3 points out of Tucson's 4, getting 2 goals and an assist on Andrew Agostino's goal, which is the second goal of the night.
Yeah, he had the bookend on the goals 1 and 4, and then, as you mentioned, had the assist on Agostino. So 3-point night for him. That's a huge night. And you know what? I mean, you look for who are the guys who are going to step up in the big moments. You're facing elimination, back against the wall. You need somebody to have a big game. And so for McCartney to do that, I think is absolutely fantastic. So, Robyn, game 3, if folks are interested, and maybe we're getting some Utah fans to maybe, try to follow along here as the Roadrunners. They have a real chance, right? I mean, one game, coin flip at this point, especially if Stauber continues to play as well as he has.
A winner take all game 3 at this point, Saturday night at 7 p.m. If you want to be able to watch
Pacific because you're in Abbotsford?
Correct, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So 8 p.m. for all those that are in Utah listening. So I know it's a little bit later, right? So, but it's going to be one hell of a fight. I was actually asked, last night, how can Utah fans tune in? If you are an AHL TV subscriber on flowhockey.tv, you'll be able to watch all those games on there. Now I will say, I'm not going to give a guarantee on this, but the AHL TV has been known for having on Saturdays, quote, free views of games. Because the playoffs, I don't know if it's going to happen, but you never know.
Well, I mean, hey, the worst you can do is check it out. And if not, I mean, I don't know if they do one-game tickets to those type of things or not. But, I mean, if you gather a couple of your friends together, maybe do a little watch party, you might find a way to make it economical.
Hey, maybe we can get maybe y'all can convince one of your local bars to, just put it up and just cover it that way. That'd be great.
There you go. Absolutely. I'm sure you will spend it back on your tab. No worries there. So, all right, Robyn, anything else you want to cap off here on the Roadrunners and their quest here for game 3 glory?
No, I feel like, again, just be on the lookout for a pretty, intense battle in game 3 here. Tucson did play again. They do match up pretty well against this Canucks team, and you can see the way they do. I mean, the Canucks are still going to come out all things fighting. I mean, just take a look at how much they wanted to put up against Stauber. So only thing I will say is they made this mistake in game 2 and in game 1, and I just want to see it stop overall from the Tucson Roadrunners. Just stay out of the penalty box.
Yes. Well, we can only hope, right? So they got 60 minutes. Hopefully they can manage it. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the PWHL is eyeing some westward expansion here. And, we love talking about the women's game, the success it's really seen in its growth lately. And we've got some news for you coming up on the other side of the break, so stay tuned.
And today's episode brought to you by Game Time. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and if you've never been to a live NHL playoff game, it's unlike anything else. the intensity, the speed, the energy in the building, it's next level. And thanks to Game Time, getting in the door is easier and more affordable than ever. Game Time is the fastest way to grab playoff tickets, even for those must-see matchups. Prices actually drop as the puck drop gets closer. With last-minute deals, you can save up to 60%. Now, I'll tell you guys, I've been using Game Time for the last, I'd say, almost a decade at this point as my main source of purchasing tickets. And I'll even tell you, the first time I ever got a chance to use Game Time was for a Stanley Cup playoff game. It was in 2016, the San Jose Sharks in the Western Conference Final. My brother and I found a really good deal on those tickets because, well, we actually kind of waited the last moment. We waited to the day of to see what kind of we can get, and got an absolutely amazing deal. Saw their all-in pricing, so we knew exactly what we'd pay up front without those surprise fees. We knew what the seat was going to look like. We saw the picture there, and with their ticket coverage, we knew we were protected because if we were unable to go for whatever reason, or maybe this series didn't go that far. Maybe they changed the venue or whatever it was. We knew that we'd have their guarantee on their tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño back here with you to wrap things up on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Hey, if you're still here, you must like us at least enough to subscribe, right? Go ahead and click that subscription, no matter how you're watching or listening. If you're on the YouTube side, also click the thumbs up. Helps us with the algorithm. And you might as well click the bell while you're at it. You'll get a notification every single time a new episode drops. And you can also subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. So, Robyn, we love talking about women's hockey on the program and have been very excited to talk about the growth of the game. Now, it appears that the very successful PWHL is eyeing some westward movement.
Yeah, they are trying to look to make some expansion. They pretty much already announced one city and said another one is coming. They, I think, had to work out some details for the second city for that to be officially announced. But it is confirmed that PWHL is expanding to Vancouver as their first. We talked about, what potential cities would it be? Vancouver, being among the top of the list here, Tom. And this is huge, right? For them to come on over to the West Coast. I think it's going to give an opportunity for more cities down here on the West to be able to get some recognition.
I feel like, and this is just me talking, please, I have no source on this. Don't run to the internet with this and say, well, Tom Callahan said. This is my thought, because I've seen a lot of minor league expansions that have succeeded and those that have failed. But if you're coming out west, you are not doing it for one or two teams. There's going to be a clump of probably four minimum to cut down those travel costs, to keep everything local. Maybe even more than that down the road. If you're bi-coastal, that's okay. Maybe you never bridge the gap in the middle. Maybe you stay east and west, and then you basically have one big swing trip for each team over to the other side during the season, or you alternate your travel to keep the costs down. But, Robyn, the fact that we know now they are coming out to the West Coast, I think bodes really well, as long as they can find situations that are agreeable to really grow the game on the western side. I could easily see it going 4, 6, maybe even 8 teams eventually on the West Coast. And I think that is a fantastic opportunity for growth for the women's game.
Oh, certainly. And I will say, to kind of give people a heads up, the understanding, at least for this first batch of expansion, that Vancouver was really supposed to come in as a package deal with Seattle. So Seattle probably going to be announced at some point pretty soon.
That was the first city that jumped to mind with Seattle.
Right?
Absolutely.
At that point, right, you're talking, you're able to establish a really strong rivalry, because Seattle-Vancouver rivalry, you're just cross borders, you're close to each other, you don't have to worry too much. You talk about travel, right? You don't have to worry too much about those kind of travels when you're going, I mean, you do have to cross the border, but yeah, they're really close to each other, right? These cities are incredibly close. But other cities I know have been on the top of the list. I know Denver is up there. People have talked whether or not Los Angeles might get one. The San Francisco Bay Area is lower on the list, but has been talked about, at least on the west side. I mean, people have mention on the what could happen on the East Coast, like Quebec City or whatever. But I love seeing the West Coast expansion.
I wonder if there's appetite to go into any non-NHL markets, like a Portland type of scenario. That would be interesting to me.
I'm glad you mentioned Portland, because I mean, Portland has embraced junior hockey. Portland has the Winterhawks, and Winterhawks have been there for a long time, and they love the team there, right? That's major junior. That's WHL, CHL hockey. And they also have an amazing women's hockey scene over there, at least with the the adult hockey clubs up there. So and even their youth programs. So there would be no reason not to consider Portland as a possible expansion city. I like that you mentioned that.
If the PWHL wants to put one in San Diego, just give me a call. I'll come work for you. No problem.
Oh yeah, no, I'll join you. San Diego would be a great place to live.
We'll be the first 2 staffers announced. We're just sitting there waiting at the front door for someone with the keys. Perfect.
Play-by-play in color, right?
There you go. Absolutely. Yes. Robyn, you're about as colorful as they come. There is no denying that.
Hey, that's why.
That's it. All right. Anything you want to add here to this episode before we give it the old wrap it up?
No, again, I just be on the lookout for more PWHL expansion. I know maybe some of you listening to the show may be asking, hey, what about Salt Lake City? Just a heads up. We don't know. I mean, we don't know what they're considering. That could be much later down the road after things are a little bit more established. But hey, make some noise if you want. Let them know that you'd want that to happen. Maybe ask for at least a tour stop to show that it is deserved, because that's what's worked in the past for the PWHL. So that's all I got to say about it.
If the fans make some noise for it, Robyn, I think they would definitely pay attention.
Oh, 100%. And final thing I will add is just, again, get the cheer out for the Tucson Roadrunners. Let us know if you will be watching Game 3, and if they make it to Game 3, the round or rounds beyond in the Calder Cup playoffs.
I really hope they do. I really do. I'm pulling for those guys. And of course, me being a former Roadrunner myself, I just really hope they're able to make a dent, get past Abbotsford, and at that point, all bets are off. Anything can happen. So
give me an excuse to go back down there, right? Because I know once they get to this next round, there should be an opportunity, at least a game or two, back in Tucson.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Feel free to drop a comment down below the video, or of course you can reach out to us on social media, and we do monitor the comments, and we may respond right away, or of course we may use your topic as a future episode, and we will be bringing you wall-to-wall coverage all the way through the summer as well. So for Robyn, I'm Tom. Thanks so much for being a part of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.